All right. Just like we have been almost a year now. I'll have to look.
That's so
might
crazy.
Might be right at a year worth of
Yeah.
podcasts. Super excited for everybody tuned in. We have another one today that's going to be super great to talk about. Something more of an inspiring one again
Yeah.
on the forefront of a talk. Stop asking all the questions. This is the Vital Wire. All right, so all of the questions.
All of the questions.
Questions are good. There's no stupid questions.
There aren't.
And answering questions here as we speak, as some clients have been texting us since, for some reason, our texting system is not operating.
Yeah.
But it can kind of roll into exactly what we wanted to talk about. Is a lot of times we get stuck in the solutions
Right.
for what we want. You know, what we're trying to find answers to, what we're trying to find solutions for, and we ask all the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And we're so busy asking questions that it could really halt us from finding the solution faster.
Right.
99% of the time, there's more than one way to get to the destination, to
right.
get the outcome. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's just talk about why questions are important, but not to overwhelm yourself, because I think a lot of times questions are a crutch to delay the action
Right.
of what we're not always, I wouldn't say we're not inspired to do, but we're scared to do. We don't know what will work. So we want to try to figure the outcome. We want to try to will in the outcome now, that instant gratification.
Yeah.
But since we don't know that outcome is going to, that's going to be the outcome, that's going to work, we continue to ask more questions. Well, I'll think about it. Let me ask this, or let me see what else I can ask. And
But what about this? What happens if that happens, or what goes there?
And I'm one of these people, I guess from a little different perspective, is I just want to be ready for anything.
Right.
Where I think a lot of people, and I tell this to people who start in this office, I tell this to some of the athletes that I coach. It's like, love the questions. You're done. No more questions.
Aaron's words, you're done.
Yeah. And I'll ask the team, and I'll ask myself, am I continuing to ask questions to delay the action because I'm uncertain and uncomfortable and that I don't want to fail? Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, what if you don't? Mm-hmm. What if you stop asking the questions and just took the step and learned along the way? Because a lot of outcomes, if you ask better questions, you get better answers. And sometimes it just takes starting the process.
Right.
And taking the first step. So then it's like, oh, I didn't even have to ask that question, but now I have a better one. Is very, very important.
Right, because a lot of times our baseline questions are baseline. Whereas if you were to dive in, you might get to that underneath, like, real gooey question of like, oh, okay, this is what I actually wanted to ask. I didn't need to know that because I did know it. I know how to do it. And this question that I actually have now that I've dove in is going to get me to that outcome, as opposed to asking 16 questions. I get this a lot in dance, where I'll start choreographing or something. And this is like a left field example, but it still makes sense too, where I'll start choreographing something, and instead of watching, listening, and intaking, they're already coming up with questions in their head. Well, where does your arm go here? Where does your foot go here? Where is this? Where is that? How about this? And I'm like, if you were to have just listened, watched, and intook, none of those questions would have been relevant.
And also in that, we'll kind of stay on the dance, and I'll loop it all into a different example, is in the dance world, correct me if I'm wrong, and it's, let's get the choreography down and we'll clean later.
Yes.
It's like, let's just get the motions down. Let's
Right.
just, because here's the thing is, it's it's a process. It's a journey. Enjoy the journey.
Right.
And you don't always need the map and the destination. It's like, oh, I've never been to this city. I'm going to go. And well, how am I going to get there? What am I going to do? Let's find all the things. Where am I going to stay? It's like, well, hang on a second. You're already trying to be there. It's like sometimes find the necessities. We need this dance to be this long. We need this care plan to be this long because there's a process. So in the care, the clients we take care of, a lot of them come in with that. And I love standing in that space, especially when somebody is willing to be open-minded and I can sign and say, hey, I know this is a leap of faith.
Right.
In dance, I know you're going to have to trust me. In racing, it's like you can't make the outcome be what you think it's going to be. It's a process, and I know it's a leap of faith. Like you're going to have to run the top and knock the wall down. Well, what if I wreck? How fast do I need to go? Where do I need to brake? How far do I turn? Just get up there and either fail faster or get through the first step. Maybe ask a better question, but in care here, it's like, that's why we do re-exams. In dance, that's why we do this in sections and in combos. In racing, this is why there's hot laps and heat races. Well, what if this bar angle doesn't work? It's, what if that adjustment didn't work? It's you're talking about one thing, you're trying to solve for all the things, and you haven't even made the steps yet.
But what if I'm too tight? Well, you don't know that until you get out for hot laps most of the time.
And so when I talk to a lot of clients, I know this is a leap of faith.
Yes.
I said, I get it. For some people, they're whole ass in. And they're like, I am ready to take care of this. And for a lot of people, it's like they want to take care of it. And I'm like, I know it's a leap of faith. But if we do nothing, this only goes one direction.
Right.
I can appreciate the questions. Save those. Let's get 30 days in. Let's get this much under our belt. Let's get into town first. Let's, whatever it is, and then do a re-exam and pivot if we need to, or continue with the initial foundation.
Yes.
Because it all starts with that. You know where you're going to end up. You know where you want to end up. You know where you're going to be. You know what you're building and what it's got to look like.
Yep.
But if you never pick up the materials and place the one piece in first, you're never going to know how this is really going to play out, and you can't control it. So a lot of times it's question after question after question. Totally cool, but don't let it stunt your growth and your potential to get better in whatever it is, a sport, teaching, speaking, health, whatever it is. Don't let it halt your advancement now, because as we all know, it goes fast.
Yep.
We now have 2, 4, and almost 6. One thing I've never discounted, and if I can get people to really understand this and really take it, it's like, oh yeah, it flies by, like you have no idea. That's one thing I have never taken for granted, is how fast it goes. I don't think my parents really had to tell me so much. It's like, don't wish it away. It's like, that's something I never really have done. And I hope if I can inspire people to do the same thing, like do not hesitate because it does go so fast. Do not hesitate. You can be farther faster if you take action now and continue to ask better questions. So don't let the front end questions continue to stall your progress.
Right. Because a lot of times too, like we've kind of run over and talked about in other things and other podcasts and things, those upfront questions are through nerves, are through anxiety a lot of times, are through, especially in your health. You ask the questions because you are nervous that this isn't going to work, or because something else didn't work, you have to know all of these details because the other doctor didn't tell you those details and you had a bad reaction or a bad experience elsewhere. So you're asking these questions kind of as a front, kind of as a wall. And instead, you got to knock that wall down and you got to let yourself trust, like we've spoke on before. And if you have a question, absolutely ask it, but don't let yourself ask the 60 questions to stall yourself from making that progress or from getting to that ending goal, because that's what we're here for. We already know your end goal and we know we can get you to your end goal, but you have to get yourself there. And that's the same with any athlete too. If you like mental blocks, a lot of times start through questions because you question yourself into thinking, into believing that you can't do that. You can't make that throw. You can't make that catch. You can't do that skill. And it all comes from a baseline of questions that you've run through your brain, maybe not even out loud. Maybe these are mental questions that you're asking yourself, and you're not allowing either to say the question that you actually want to say, or your question didn't get answered. And so you have that block now where you're like, I can't do it.
Yep. And it's what do, the best questions start with, what do I do? What are my options? And you give them options. And a lot of times as that conversation goes, if you just let it go, what oftentimes I find is there's two categories that really come into play. Well, and there's three, but the first two categories are maybe not in this order. They flip-flop depending on the person. But we're all an instant gratification society most often, like all the time. It's like, no. So, okay, thanks for the resource. Thanks for the solution. And then the questions come. How long is this going to take? How many times am I going to have to be here? How many practices do I have? How many months? How many, how each visit, each practice, each thing, how much time? Time. It's like, okay, you're worrying yourself about something and talking yourself out of the solution. Concern. Now, it's a valid question. How much time is this going to take? Two is, well, what's this going to cost? If you want to do a solo, if you want to build a car, if you want to take a trip, if you take action in your health, care plans here. It's like, well, what's it cost? Valid question.
Yep.
Make sure it's a valid question and not a crutch or something that's going to alter your outcome. Don't let it change your trajectory to the solution that you've been given. Because here's the thing, not everything has a book. Like, not everything's IKEA. There's 26 pieces. It should take you this long, which now this is a good point. There's 26 pieces. This is what it's going to look like. This is how it goes together. But there's still a time component. Maybe I can build it faster than you. So how long is this going to take? Well, I don't know. It's like the solution's there. You need a coffee table. There it is.
Right.
And you're talking yourself out of either time or money. And am I actually going to be happy with it? And it's like, oh man, it's like, well, then sell it if you don't like it.
Right.
But take the steps, because what if you do? And it's like, well, maybe I'll wait. It's like, okay, well, what if they're out of stock? What if it gets worse? What if, matter has limitations in every sense of the word. What if I don't fix it now in health and resources and house and, well, I want to build this house. Well, how long is that going to take? You dream house, and you might have all the money in the bank in the world, and then you talk yourself out of it based on one scenario. And it's like, just take the steps.
Yep.
Like, nothing is going to happen as fast as we want.
Right.
And also be ready for the detours that have to happen. We've got friends traveling this week. I literally just got this text. I'll check and see what's going on here. So they had 2 blowouts on the way to the track. I forget where they're headed, and it's like
Wisconsin?
No, yes, it's on the way. They race tonight, but he just texted me and said, yeah, mom and dad blew 2 tires on the way up there. They could have taken all the time. It's like, well, maybe we won't leave today. Are the tires good? Are we going to have a blowout? They could have asked all the questions, but it's a detour. Like, at the end of the day, it might not take, it might not happen fast enough, but is it still worth the progress? Well, you're 2 hours ahead of where you could have been, and you had the blowouts. You could still be sitting at home and be like, oh, we're going to get there right on time, leave, and then be late. But there's always going to be detours. It's like, what if you start care and we get through the first 90 days and you get 20, 30, 40% progress? You wanted 100. We're very clear that that's probably not going to be the case. Is it still worth it to get that much progress in whatever you're doing and get that much better, to get that much further along, and then go into another 30, 60, 90, 6-month process, building a house? It's like, you watch all these TV shows and you could talk yourself out of buying this house. Going in, if you're planning on $400,000, you better plan on $550,000.
Right.
Just period. Just knock it out, because
True.
There's going to be things that come up in life, and you could ask all the questions in the world. Just really evaluate, am I asking the questions to deter myself from getting the solution now? And believe me, if you want the outcome, and maybe it's a financial issue, maybe it's a time constraint, if those are the issues, communicate with whoever it is you're working with. A coach, a teacher. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to be ready for the test. Well, the test is on Friday. You better study.
Right.
There's been times I can remember in school, so for our student athletes and parents of student athletes, where it's like, look, Miss Graham, I'm not going to be ready. I am trying. If you're honestly, if you're putting in the work and you're taking those steps and you are so confident, you can say, is there any way I can take this on Monday?
Right.
Is there any way that I can pay for this over time? Is there any way we can work this into where it's budgetable for me? Is there any way that I can move this 30 minutes? Is there any way we can be efficient and make sure that this meeting is 15 minutes, not 45?
Right.
Just communicate with whatever the scenario is to, one, solve the anxieties, but two, people want to help you.
Yeah.
In whatever scenario, people want to help. Those are better questions to get a better outcome.
Yep. Also for student athletes, now the flip side of the coin really is allowing yourself to ask your teacher's questions. Not dumb ones, not like 2 + 2 is 4, right? You don't want to ask those. But if you're having trouble in math, going up to your teacher is really important. Like, don't allow yourself to fail because of your mental questions that are in your brain. Be willing and able to ask the tough questions as well. But something else that comes up with questions for me is the ridiculous, the ridiculous one of don't ask the questions you don't want the answers to.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that so much because, again, it's that mental block thing that you're building in your brain or somebody's building for you at that point. That's like, oh, don't ask the question you don't want the answer to. No.
Yeah.
That's not how it goes.
Ask a stupid question, get a stupid answer. Well, then that person doesn't need to be around.
That one makes me mad.
Yeah. No, we need to. A lot of people, like, if you catch yourself, like, I get the sarcasticness and the joking of it, but just know, like, people are people, and they could be asking. Don't be sarcastic when somebody's asking a genuine question, because I've always hated that too. Ask a stupid question, get a stupid answer. It's like, how about we flip that to ask a better question, get a better outcome?
Yeah.
And it's like, I see what you're saying, and it's more Socratic. Continue to, if you're a teacher, a leader, or if you're desiring more knowledge, just know if you can ask a better question, you get a better answer. So the Socratic method is, how can I continue to ask the right questions to draw out the answer?
Right.
It's, my neck hurts today. I think I slept wrong. What's going on? And it's like, I could go into this whole scientific thing, and it's like, well, how do you think that happened? Like,
Right.
tell me more on what it is that's going on, because I doubt, like, you've slept for how many days of your life? Like, how many nights have you gone to sleep? Like, all of them, but maybe 6. So I don't know. Like, didn't get much sleep at Falls this weekend, but missed that night of sleep. But it's not, you've slept hundreds of nights in your life, and now it's just this one that shows up.
Right.
So how about I ask you a better question? Well, how else do you think this might have happened? What else were you doing this week?
Right,
It's not
learn how
always
to
a
guide.
you problem, but it's like you ask better questions to get a better answer to then gain a better outcome. And it's just so important that, that it is kind of a fine line of, well, I thought you said don't ask all the questions. Well, don't ask all of the questions to deter yourself. I'm going to say it over and over again.
Right.
It's like, well, I don't know if I want to move positions. I don't know if I can learn it. I wonder what's involved. I wonder if I'm going to have to make more weight. I wonder if I'm going to have to lift more weight. I wonder if this costs me more time during practice. I wonder if I'm going to have to, and it's like you can just run yourself right out of it. And then here's what happens, is somebody else gets the outcome. Somebody else gets the position. Somebody else gets the spot on the floor. Somebody else has the neuropathy go away. Somebody else has things reversed in their health. Somebody else takes that trip in your place. And then what? Most often we get resentful. That should have been me. No, your ass didn't make the decision.
Right.
Because you were too busy asking all the questions, talking yourself out of it. And if you need growth within that, say, hey, I'm struggling making this decision. Can you help talk through this with me?
Right.
And that's a better scenario, because if somebody else gets the outcome, you better not get resentful and realize, you know what? Let that inspire you and say, you know what? I can do that too. Maybe I'm not front and center now, but now I'm on the front line.
Yeah.
Now I'm in the starting lineup. Maybe I'm not the slot receiver. Maybe I'm the wide. Like there's so many things that you should be inspired by, but I'm just going to tell everybody now, especially in the healthcare field, especially in student athletes, I'm just going to narrow in on those. You guys can probably make sense of what it is that this will fit to you, is your questions can cost you the outcome that somebody else will receive.
Boom. I believe that would be a dropping bomb moment.
Yeah. Where's my Brad Lee button? need to program those.
That one was good.
Yeah. See, that's a perfect example. I could have I probably got some, and it's like, well, how do I set the ones I want?
Them,
how do I set the ones I want, record the ones I want? How do I put them in order? Like I've talked myself out of having this thing ready to go for a full year we've had it.
Yeah, that's so true.
We should have a dropping bomb one.
But something also that I want to reverse us back to was the mention of questions to help their questions. And I think that's something that's really great that we as leaders, as coaches, as business owners, leading them into a better question. Because a lot of people, now, I mean, genuinely, a lot of people are baseline questioners that do this through the anxiety, through the mental block, through the things to, get them to not do what they're supposed to do, like we've been talking about this whole time. But us as leaders, being able to lead them into a better question. Like if they're asking the 5 baseline questions, how do you get them out of that space so that they can receive that outcome? And it comes from us leading them into a better question to get that light bulb moment of, oh, okay, I can do that.
And this is exactly why tomorrow night, we're doing a dinner for how to better serve our student athletes, or how to better take care of our student athletes. There's a few seats left. I can create a little urgency. We'll pack them in. We had a couple more people sign up tonight. Had a couple more clients tell me today that they're coming. I think we're up to, our goal was 30, and I think we're right there. We can fit more, yes. I kind of want to control that environment. Again, I stopped asking the questions, and I'm like, we're just going to do it. We're just going to do the dinner, and we're gonna learn as we go here. We've got a great setup. We've got dinner coming, but the meat of that is we're not going to hit people over the head with chiropractic, and here's what we have to offer, and we're going to sell you at the end. We are literally going to stimulate better questions by being a resource and giving them information. So I don't get, well, what do you do? Well, how do you fix that? How long does that take? What does it cost? It's like, hang on, let me build some value here and have you ask better questions. Like, would this help my kid with this? Would this help me and my wife because we do this? What else can we be doing? Do you provide this? Do you suggest? And you start to get informational questions instead of trapping questions or delaying questions. So we're doing these dinners now, and we're doing them for our general clientele as well, where we're doing our Vital Shifts dinners. And again, it's not to be like, well, here's what we're going to sell you on next.
Right,
it's
beat
like,
you over the
no,
head with
we're going to give you the information to stimulate the questions and show you that we are a resource here for you, and people are looking for that. So just know, like, you're not singled out. You're not going to look stupid for looking for more information.
No.
You're not alone in this. And so tomorrow night at 6:30 here, feel free to drop in. Like, if we've got room and it's standing room only, you might have to stand, but we're going to continue to help people ask better questions.
Yes.
And that is going to be so awesome. I'm just so excited as we've started 10, 11, 12 new student athletes just in the past couple weeks. And the coolest thing is, here's the best question that I can be asked. This is when I know we're making an impact and people are valuing themselves. Is we go through our Ultimate Sports Physical, and even in the general, we go through our initial evaluation process and go through the motion study and the neurological technology, and we literally spell it all out for you very simply. But in particular, this Ultimate Sports Physical, walks you through the process of how can we serve your student athlete better? How is their body performing? Where are some areas we need to hone in on and strengthen and train properly? Is there a blood work conversation? And we do this whole evaluation in physical. And the best question that's music to our ears is when we go over the report of what that showed and the structure and the functional side of the evaluation we do. And every parent at this point, I think we're 14 for 14, they go, how do we fix it?
Yep.
And it's like, boom. That is a great question. It's not how long is it going to take, not how much is it going to cost. It's how do we fix it? And we go.
Right. By the way, if you're listening to this and you have a student athlete, do not sleep on that Ultimate Sports Physical. That is the wealth of knowledge, information, and stuff that you get on your student athlete is absolutely insane. It's so helpful.
We're going to be going over statistics at that dinner too,
Yeah.
to really tie that all in. Because again, if we do nothing about it, and I'm not a big research guy, well, the research shows that 22% of people that do this, but we did dive into some of the research,
Right.
and we know the number one thing we know, and I'm going to leak a little bit of this, is, and the research is showing that of the student athletes, and there's a lot, and actually girls more prevalent than boys in injuries, but of the kids who have been injured and have had major either surgeries or rehab, all of them have said they wish they had more resources sooner for prehab.
Right.
For what do we do prior? And the research is also saying that there should be evaluations done before the athlete starts their season or training in order to prevent injuries. So increasing injury prevention takes evaluation and a pregame of sorts to really limit their ability to give them the best opportunity to not be injured. It lowers their percentage rate of becoming injured. And so now we're doing that. And at the end of this, and this is on even our flyer and some of the ads and stuff that we've put out, is it says parent, coach, and trainer driven Q&A. So by the time we're done with this, there's 4 of us there for this talk. We are going to invite, and I'm going to tell them at the beginning, write down questions.
Yes.
Because we are going to solve for time. We're going to solve for money. I had a mom tell me this morning, like, we're maxed out on our HRA or HSA for this child. You're like, we've already met the max. We've already met the deductible, and but our HSA is out. And it's like, well, so here's the solve, and here's where the investment now, next year, not going to be the case. Because if we do nothing, you're just going to go through it again.
Right.
And how much tax on, and how much more do we pay, and what's next year going to look like? It's compounding interest. So you can compound interest into one of 2 directions. Right. It's going to cost more time and money, or you can invest and compound interest into saving you time and money that then you can put elsewhere.
Right.
Average ACL reconstruction surgery, I think it said, was around $5,000. Some more, some less. Like I get my insurance covers. I'm not even talking about that. But it said in the study, and I'll have it here tomorrow night, where the average ACL reconstruction costs around $5,000. And it's like, holy cow, what if you could put that elsewhere? Now, we're not also guaranteeing it will never happen, but this is where the leap of faith comes in. Stop asking, well, this is going to guarantee this doesn't, and what if it does, and da-da-da. Well, you know what? Life is a game. We all work hard, play hard. Shit happens. We don't live in a bubble. But if you could take the opportunity to learn more, ask better questions, to have a better outcome, and lessen the chance of it happening, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and money.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited for tomorrow night.
I am too.
It's been
going to be amazing.
Very, very great. And a lot of times we talk on things that all the time, we talk on things that we have learned ourselves, and to try to be super relatable to this and try to be inspiring, because at the end of the day, we get it.
Yep.
We train our team so they have the same mindset of meet them where they're at. Like, we get it. All this is to do is to inspire you to don't allow questions to stall your outcome. Don't talk yourself out of it, and be available and open to having better questions drawn out of you and understanding yourself. If you can sit in that for a second and say, if you start that question trend, well, what about and what if? As you start that, take a breath and ask, why? Why do I want to know that?
Right.
Am I stalling, or is that absolutely necessary? Or do I need to take a leap of faith and take the first step so I can attain closer to that outcome and maybe ask better questions along the way?
I love it.
Sweet.
So good.
A lot of stuff going on here. We're almost staring down fall, which is crazy. Kids are getting ready to start school. We'll put some links in here for you to take more action. Give us some feedback. Let us know if there's any topics maybe you want us to cover. We're open to that.
Absolutely.
If you want to be a guest on the podcast, reach out.
Come on in.
We have more guests lined up as we go here, as people wind down from vacations and getting kids ready for school. Do not sleep on yourself through this process. Still take care of you. We're super excited to be able to serve. A lot of fun things coming. Hope to see some of you there at the dinner tomorrow night. Have a great week. See ya.
Bye.